Hello, class 4 children. A very good morning to all of you. Welcome back to our online class. So, I just want to ask you a few questions related with the picture, okay? So, who tells you stories at home? Obviously, your grandparents, right? Because usually they don't have any work, so they used to tell stories to their grandchildren, right? Okay, now what kind of stories do you like most? Okay, most of you have said different kinds of stories like adventure book, animals books, machine books, different types of stories that you liked, right? Okay, very good. Thank you for your answers. Okay, now where do you see and get such a storybooks to read? Last week we have learned about book, right? So in that poem, we came to know that in library there are thousands of different kinds of books are there in the library, right? So we will get books to read in the library, right? Okay, so to if you want to have the books, where do you go? Okay, you will go to the bookshop, right? If you want to buy a book or if you want to own a book, you will go to bookshop to buy some books, right? So in this picture, you can see a bookshop here and you can see lots and lots of books in that shop, right? So the two children here are going to buy some books from that bookshop, right? So related with this, today we are going to learn a story called Going to Buy a Book. So in this story, you will get to know that there are two children who wants to buy a book with their money given by their grandfather. So let's see what will happen in the story. Okay, first I'm going to read the story here. Please listen it carefully or you can just read along with me. Okay, so here it starts. Going to buy a book. One day, grandfather gave my brother and me some money. Go and buy books, he said. We were both very happy. We both love to read. Okay, in this first 5 lines, there were two children and their grandfather had given some money to buy some books and their grandfather told them to go and buy a book. They were so excited and happy to buy the book because they love to read book. Okay, so in the second stanza, why we go? Should we go now? Should we go later? Should we go today? Should we go tomorrow? We decided to go right now. Okay, the two children were a bit confused whether when they should go to buy book. So they decided to go right now, not tomorrow, not later, not today. They just decided to buy right now. So they went to a bookshop. Okay, now should we go to the big market? Should we go to the small market, small shop? Should we go with somebody? Should we go alone? We decided to go to the small shop, just the two of us. Okay, now they are confused that whether they should go to big market or to the small shop and whether they should take help from their elders or not. Okay, so they decided to go themselves. Okay, just two of them. They went to a small shop. Okay, then we like the small bookshop. It is small, but it has many books. The man in the shop likes us. He always helps us. Okay, in the last line, it says he always helps us, right? Which shows that they used to go to that bookshop usually, or as a regular customer. Okay, so the shopkeeper, the book shop man, he likes them and he always helps them to search the book. Okay, now should I buy a book with a lot of pictures? Should I buy a book with a lot of stories? Should I buy a thin book? I could not decide. Okay, the girl couldn't decide which book to choose, right? She was confused with whether she should buy with a lot of pictures or whether she should buy with a thick book with lots of stories. Okay, we did not know which book to buy. The man in the shop smiled at us. Relax, come with me, he said. These books are about animals, those are about machines, those over there are about wars. Take what you want. Okay, now the shopkeeper, the man in the shop, helped them to search the book. He showed the different types of books that were kept in the shelf, right? So he showed them the animals books, machine books, wars books, etc., right? I picked some books. My brother picked some books. I sat on the floor. He sat on the chair. And we read and read and we read. Okay, now they got one book or few books to read. Her brother sat on the chair and she sat on a floor to read, and they started reading. Then it was very quiet. There was no sound. 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed. Finally, we knew which books to buy. Okay, now they keep reading in the bookshop, and it passed 1 hour, it passes 2 hours, and in the end, they knew which book to buy. Okay, the man in the bookshop smiled at us. I got a fat book with many stories. My brother got a big book with many pictures. Okay, now her brother bought a picture book and she bought with the many stories in the book. She bought a fat book with many stories and he bought a big book with lots of pictures. Now they have chosen the book they want. Okay, and in the last few lines, we ran home to our grandfather. We climbed on his bed. He put his arms around us and then we read and read and read. Okay, now at the last, they, after buying the book from the bookshop, they ran to their grandfather and they climbed onto his bed. The grandfather was lying on the bed and they climbed up and cuddled him, and then they started reading the storybook by Rukmini Banerjee. Okay, now you will get some new words here. Alone, bookshop, machine, finally, climbed. Okay, now we are going to discuss with a question and answer here. First, I want all of you to read the story here, and I'm going to let you to read alternate ways. Okay,